Hey, welcome to another edition of the wondrous, mumbling, bumbling, fumbling last week's exciting reading adventures, rather. So this week, as you no doubt, I'm doing a Green Hornet themed type of thing. I got some Green Hornet comics. There's a little mix up what I've got. So anyway, let's take a jaunt over to the dining table studios here and see what we got. So well, hold on. I don't want that.
A dream Nazarian worked his way through UCLA and dedicated himself to service. Now he's running for city council.
Sorry, I turned this down. I hope this is gonna be a short one, not a 30-minute long rant. But anyway, back in 1989, this was the book. This was the much anticipated Green Hornet comic book that came out in the waning months of 1989. This gorgeous cover, which the most gorgeous thing about it is the cover, is none about Jim Steranko, and it's very, very much in the wheelhouse of all his shadow paperbacks. Yeah, you remember Pyramid did a reprint series of all the shadow pulps, and they enlisted Jim Steranko to do all the covers, and I love those covers. I mean, it was my favorite, next to Doc Savage, my favorite paperback series to collect. And he did a bunch of them. I don't know how long. I think they reprinted 24 of them. The first 13 of them were just these straight on homages of it's just like it's just the shadow, but except you put a green mask over him, rescuing the damsel in distress, and you got Kato back there. The first 12 or 13 of them were like this. Then in the 14th or 15th one, they changed the color, the cover dresses, like these multicolored dresses, and they weren't well represented. So anyway, looking at this issue, like I said, this is the best thing about this issue is the cover. The insides are not so much. Now Comics is a company from Chicago, and the first issue was written by a gentleman by the name of Ron Fortier, and the pencil with Jeff Butler, and the story is called My Last Case. It's a and I'm gonna tell you what I found wrong with this comic book. The story is very well. It's an interesting story. It's an interesting take on the character. The first issue is a story of the Green Hornet back when he was in the era of old time radio and movie serials, whatnot. And I growing up, I grew up a lot listening to a lot of old radio shows like The Shadow, Lone Ranger, The Gangbusters, Superman. And I remember this as a station in New York where I had to get it through a powerful police radio, which my stepdad had, and I used to take the antenna had to be pointed in a certain way, and I had to, and where you got the best reception of all places was in the bathroom, because we had this bathroom where there was a window in an apartment complex where where all the bathroom windows were, so you could to ventilate the steam, wouldn't reduce mold and stuff like that. And you put it on this windowsill, and somehow the reception came in great. So Monday night, this radio station, usually on Monday through Fridays, this radio station in New York would play all these old time radio shows, like an hour or so. I remember Mondays was Lone Ranger, Wednesdays was The Shadow, and Friday was the Green Hornet. But I actually got interested in old time radio because my stepfather and me pitched in on a old time a record set, I think from Murray Hill Records in New York, and it was like a sampling of old time radio. And of course, I wanted the two records because the two records had the Lone Ranger, the Shadow, and the Green Hornet episodes. And I remember my very first, the title of my very first Green episode that I listened to, and I never forget. I use sometimes in phrases. Sometimes it was called "Charity Takes It on the Chin." What a blast of a title for an episode. So I kept we hear Green Hornet episodes, and of course I loved the TV show. Of course, the first exposure to Green Hornet ever was the TV show. That was a William Dozier production, and it was a spin-off of Batman. Not actually a spin-off, but the Green Hornet and Kato with Bruce Lee and Van Williams were introduced on an episode of Batman, and that launched into a series. There was other attempts to turn other comic strips into primetime series produced by William Dozier at Fox Studios. One was Dick Tracy. I have a pilot of that. I can't recall the actor who did it. Another one was like a 10-minute reel of Wonder Woman with Buck Henry or something like that. It didn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, back to this story. The one thing problem I have with this issue is the coloring. The coloring is very gaudy. It's not a great job. And back then in the 80s, comics were trying to break away from the regular newsprint. They were either going to be put on Mondo or Baxter paper, they call it. I think this is like Mondo paper. But I always thought that the coloring was just, it's just something. It just doesn't. It looks like it's just. That's a good shot there. It doesn't look like it's the precursor of the computer coloring. You can see, just the it doesn't look it's fully done. It's like there's a lot of white left in there. This is the early thing here. Going through. This was this first issue tale was Green Hornet back in his heyday, where he, I guess the story is called My Last Case, and it details the reasons why Britt Reed quit being the Green Hornet, and this Kato. They all split up at the end of the war. Kato goes back to help his family, and it's a big fight here. And I was about to say the coloring job. This is a bad coloring job by the Suzanne Decknick, but looking it over, I think it's just something with the print. It's something to do with the printer themselves. It just doesn't reproduce the colors with the tension dye. Anyway, this was a much heralded issue of 1989. I remember this being the talk of the one of the topics of conversation at the Comic-Con that year, which I really went off on that year. I mean, it was like my first ever convention where I dropped $1,000 on back 4 or 5 days was a hotel room included and everything. I remember staying at the U.S. Grant Hotel that year, and I was working 2 jobs back then. I was working at a vitamin packaging factory, and I was working at a convenience store at midnight, graveyard shift. So that's what that issue. That was the first issue with the gorgeous Jim Steranko cover. The second issue with was a cover done by Dave Dorman. You know, you probably know him from a lot of Dungeons and Dragons and Star Wars related covers and what such not. Let me see. And the bad coloring continues. This story is it's an untitled story. There was never a title done for this story, and it's this story is like a generation jump from 1945 to late 1960s. It takes place during the Vietnam War and capitalizing on the TV show which took place during that time. The series would eventually jump to 1989 to update a female Kato and a younger Britt Reed. Don't know the circumstances. This series only lasted 14 issues, but there were other volumes that now did, which lasted longer. But this is the introductory series. I believe one of my Facebook friends, Bob Ingersoll, wrote one of those the following series. I don't know. I have to drop him an email about it. And just pretty much, Kato has been a younger Kato. In this iteration, was sent over from Japan to assist Britt Reed, and he rebuilds the Black Beauty and whatnot, and that leads to Britt Reed's who's running for senator, getting killed and shot. Of course, it's a play on Robert Kennedy Jr. getting assassinated in Los Angeles back in '68, and that forces a younger Britt Reed to take on the mantle, and the series goes. There's a Reed family tree tracing back his origins to the Lone Ranger, or does this take place after the Lone Ranger? When the body of the first Britt Reed was presumably taken out to Texas and buried next to Dan Reed, aka the Lone Ranger. So I had a little mix up with this one. My roommate says, "Oh, you gotta get this one. You gotta get this one." And we're going through boxes of comics and stuff. And I said, "Oh yeah, I'd never seen that one before." Little did I know, it's a reprint of the first issue. This is the second print, the beginning of the Green Hornet legacy. And the color hasn't improved. The coloring looks even worse in this edition. And look at that. I mean, look at that sample. Look at this. That's not right. It looks cheap. It just looks. The printer just couldn't get the plates right. But anyway, the thing is, they took there's a big back feature detailing what's in store for this Green Hornet series. I believe there's they have. Sorry, excuse me. They have what's going to be happening in future in issues where the direction the series was going to. So anyway, that's the Green Hornet. That's only I can pick up. There's one thing I wanted to say. One more thing I want to say. When I first moved to Los Angeles, when I tried to break in the entertainment industry, you got to start from somewhere. And one of my first entertainment-related jobs was that I worked over at Vivid Video warehouse in Van Nuys for a period of 2 weeks, and I left for personal reasons. It was a disgusting place to work at. Well, they want Vivid Video. The guy was known as a comic book fan. He wanted to show me something, I said, "Oh, what is it? Vivid Video's going to be doing some porn comics?" Because I already know a guy who does those. And no, he showed me um, these plans, um, like model sheets of VHS covers. They were trying to secure the rights to do the old Fox series as a series of videotapes, and I guess the deal didn't fall through. And they wanted me. Well, they initially they wanted me to get on phones with customers and try to sell them on the ideal that Vivid was going to be doing some um, legit TV and movie related products, and the Green Hornet was going to be the big product, but the big project. And I guess that the George Trendle estate wouldn't allow it. Would allow a legitimate release. The series has not had a proper studio DVD or home video release, due to the copyright complexities. Um, I don't know what would be the holdup with it. They went and Sony went and did a movie, an awful movie, with Seth Rogen. That was released on my birthday, around the time of my birthday in 2011, and it was the most horrible birthday present I could give myself. That movie just stunk, man. I know that what Seth Rogen was thinking of. He was going as a overweight Green Hornet. I don't know how audiences was going to buy into that concept, but anyway, that's just something I thought I should mention. I hadn't seen the original model sheets for the covers of those VHS tapes. So anyway, not knowing this was a reprint book, I had to come up with an alternative. So I took 2 nights to read over the world finest 100 pager. I had lying around. And I said, okay, I don't really know where I'm going to put this in the theme. I could save it for next week and put in my hodgepodge of DC heroes, but this is a giant 100 pager. These take a couple of nights read over anyway. So, growing up, these were the most favorite things of comic book reading in my 10, 11-year-old, 12-year-old self was, and the only DC comics I would just gravitate or run to was with these 100 page pages. And there was a world's finest one. I wanted to try out one, and I wish I had tried something else. But there's the first story, world's finest. The first story is always new, and the rest are reprints. So this story is called "The Death Flaunts Its Golden Grin," and that's by Bob Haney, who you probably know has written tons and tons of animated stuff during the '60s based on DC comics, like all those the Aquaman, the Batmans and the Superman cartoons. Anyway, when he came up with this crazy notion that Bruce Wayne had a lost brother named by Thomas Wayne Jr. And the body's been taken over by Dead Man, and they had just been. I guess there was an ongoing arc going on in throughout the stories that Batman's pursuing Dead Man to get his brother's body back. And Superman and Batman have both been signed on a mission by who? No one knows. To stop a large criminal organization for smuggling gold into the U.S. Superman flies solo on the mission, seeing as Batman's mind is not on the job. So Batman wants Dead Man to free his brother's body, and those clues lead him to Iowa, where he tries to stop his brother from joining the circus as a trapeze artist, just like his buddy Dead Man. But he confronts the gold smuggling gang, and they eventually kill Thomas. They shoot him in the back. The art is by Dick Dillon. You probably know from a lot of Justice League stories. I guess he did a lot of World Finest stories too. I think I remember my very first World's Finest comic that my mom bought me when I was sick in bed with the mumps or something. It was Superman and the Hawkman tale. I remember the art being by Dick Dillon. Batman confronts. Well, Batman has a lot of false leads. He's pursuing everybody, thinking he's dead man, and it turns out he's not. Superman just pounds his fist into Batman. You gotta get your head straight, buddy. We got more important stuff. We got important stuff to do. We gotta find this gold and stuff. So he's pounding death. He's having a super shite fist here. So the error and let's see what else I got here. There's an aerial flight. This sort of reminded me of the Enemy Ace story that was done in Batman long ago. They tried to do it to a TV episode, which Kevin Alterelli told me they just passed on. Here's the Farewell to a Phantom. Anyway, this I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. I'll go through the. Anyway, this where does Thomas Wayne get shot in the back? Oh, there he is. Oh, Thomas Wayne. So much for that. I was reading that these World Finest stories didn't take place on Earth 2. They took place on Earth, whatever, 31, 32, whatever, pick one, And the rest of reprints are Rip Hunter, Time Master, who's been immortalized on the Legends of Tomorrow TV show. And Plop, that was my half sister Bernadette's favorite book out in New Jersey. She loved those. Here's a whole ad showcasing all those 100-pagers. They're fun. I mean, these were fun comics to read during the summer, on trips. I remember taking a couple of these up to Rhode Island with me to visit my stepdad's family. Flying out to Nebraska with him, look at that. Spectre and Aquaman. Rip Hunter. I think I fell asleep reading this story. I didn't like a lot of it. Some stories would make me go, the Vigilante. In the Reformed Owl Who Club. You gotta have someone drew all over this issue before they try to. They got all the answers wrong too. So, Vigilante. The giant size 100 first editions. That's another good thing to get at newsstands. Let's see. What's the next one? Oh, John Jones. John Jones stories from Martian Manhunter story from the 50s. Let's see. Oh, here's an interesting feature. Batman and Superman go through a little tutorial of when they were on the screen in cartoons. I thought this was amusing. They talk to serial. They even go ahead to mention the Vigilante had his own movie serial, and Congo Bill, and Blackhawks. Let's see. No, this was a good story. I kind of dug this one. Batman and Superman have these crazy doppelgangers running around and stealing things and creating havoc and whatever, and and Perry White and Commissioner Gordon team up to compare notes as they are taking 2 trips to the Fortress of Solitude and to the Batcave, blindfolded of course, and they compare notes. Perry wants to do a story. And somehow during all the while they're comparing notes, these 2 characters, these 2 evil doppelgangers of Superman and Batman, are out creating havoc And I don't know how this happened. Lost that. Yeah, there's something. Oh, yeah, they come in contact with gold kryptonite, and it turns out that these doppelgangers are none other than Commissioner Gordon and Perry White, but turn younger. There's a potion they discover. It turns them into younger versions of themselves, and they don the costume. They have superpowers. They get superpowers and intuitive abilities, and they just give Batman and Superman a run for money. Here, Perry White, his clumsiness. He actually toppled the bottle over, and that's how they got their powers. That's it was a fun story, and great Chris Swan art. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Next week, be with me. Next week, when I do a hodgepodge, a DC heroes. There's gonna be some variety of different heroes. I'm gonna take a 2 week. It's gonna take me 2 weeks. It's like Flash and the Atom, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and other sort of goodies. Anyway, that's it. Take care and have a great tonight's exciting reading adventure. Bye.